the big topic I wanted to discuss with you, and because he got a new market value, but he was also nominated to Brazil's national team. I don't think I've ever seen quite a spectacle like this one when it comes to player nominations.
Yeah,
For Brazilian national team. Just to take us there, from what I saw, it was a big cinema and a big screen, and then there was Carlo in a small screen, and then the players kind of next to it, and then there was also, and this is a good part, a woman doing sign language explaining who was actually nominated. It was, yeah, there is squad announcements, and then there is squad announcements, Marcos.
yeah. I mean, when it comes to World Cups and national team, Brazil is really something else, and CBF made the most out of it. I mean, the event was held at a museum in Rio. They had
Mm,
this theater, like everything was special for the announcement, and then the biggest question was obviously is Neymar going to be on the list or not?
yeah.
And yeah, the answer might have surprised, might have shocked some people, but it was somewhat expected for by most people here.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was interesting the fact that he was announced to be included in the squad. I don't think I was shocked by it because it's similar to maybe leaving out Messi for Argentina or Cristiano Ronaldo for Portugal. Having said that, those two still perform for their national team at a very high level, right? I'm not sure the same is quite true for Neymar. And so when the announcement was made, it was like, okay, well, he's obviously in it. A couple things came to mind, but before we get to that, I also thought it was so fascinating to see the response of players. Marcelo had like a video that he posted and is celebrating. I mean, buddy, you're not going, so why do you even care whether Neymar is in this squad? There seems to be this real kind of divide between how players feel about it, how the Brazilian media feels about it, and then I also saw reactions from abroad. Like I was asked by a fellow Brazilian journalist to write a reaction, and I thought, well, it's great that Neymar is in it, and but the problem is now that he's in it, you have to play him, but also you means he's taking up someone else's spot. Like not only do you have to play him, but he's also taking up someone else's spot. And in this case, it was João Pedro, who he's one of the few players that really performed for Chelsea this season. And so, do you take a player who's a regular goal scorer in one of the top 5 leagues over someone who's always hurt and 34 and will have to play? I thought that was quite interesting. What was your reaction to his
Yeah,
nomination?
I mean, the call up speaks volumes about what Neymar represents in Brazilian football, I think.
Mhm.
He's obviously not in the best shape. He's obviously not playing his best football at Santos right now. But Neymar is Neymar at the end of the day. As you said, it's something similar to what Messi is in Argentina, what Ronaldo is in Portugal. And I mean, it was tough for the past few months not having Neymar in the national team. We really expected him to be ready to be tested and see how he really performs in Brazil. But he was unfortunately always injured when Brazil was playing. He almost got to play a few games in the beginning of the year, but unfortunately he wasn't ready. And I mean, I think it makes sense to have most people divided. I mean, there will be people who agree that he should be selected because he's the technical leader from this Brazil team. He's going to be the most skilled player there, even though he's at an age that he won't be performing as well as he was a few years ago. But at the same time, it makes sense to argue that he's not in shape for the World Cup. You can't expect a player in his current form to perform at the highest possible level for like 6, 7, 8 games. But I mean, it really depends on who you ask. If you ask me, I think at the end of the day, I really thought about it for a long time. In the beginning, I thought it didn't make sense for Neymar to be included just because he wasn't performing at the level that we expected. But at the same time, when I stopped to think about it, what he represents to the players who are in the squad, the morale booster he is to the team, really just, he might be the light at the end of the tunnel, you know? He might be the hope that Brazil needs to win the World Cup. He represents that in a way. So I think if Mr. Carlo Ancelotti thinks it makes sense, I'm going to back him up and say, all right, so I agree with that. I believe he knows what he's doing. And if there's one guy I trust to take care of the situation and say, okay, I know what I need to do for this World Cup, is Mr. Ancelotti. So yeah, I mean, for me personally, at the end of the day, I think it makes sense. I
Hmm.
would include Neymar in the final squad, but it's a shame to see a player like João Pedro miss out on the World Cup. I mean, he's such a great footballer. We've seen him perform quite well
Hmm.
for Chelsea this season. I mean, but that's the thing. You can only select 26 players. And as I said, we have to trust the manager to make the right decisions. Tactical wise, I think you see now Brazil taking 9 defenders to the World Cup when usually in past World Cups, Brazil would take only 8 defenders. I mean, Ancelotti knows what he's doing, and as he said in the press conference after the call up, uh, unfortunately, there are going to be some very good players left out. But at least for the hopes of João Pedro, he has more World Cups to play in the future. So yeah, I mean, that's the hardest part, I think, selecting who's not going to be in the squad. But at the end of the day, is a decision they have to make. And I hope they did the right one by taking Neymar and leaving some guys like João Pedro out.
It's so interesting to hear your perspective on it because obviously I'm a foreigner. I have an outside perspective, and that's it. I don't think we can really appreciate what maybe Neymar means to the people in Brazil, right? And especially where you are from in Brazil, Santos isn't far from Sao Paulo, right? I mean, and he means so much. And he also, I think we have to remember in the beginning of his career, he postponed his move to Europe to stay with Santos longer and then has come back to Brazil to play for Santos. I think these are things that weigh heavily and that maybe the European mind cannot comprehend, Marcos, to put it that way. It is so very fascinating to hear that side of it, but I also wonder how much of this is driven maybe by also marketing. You know, the World Cup is in the United States, which will also provide significant challenges for a player like Neymar because we're talking different climate zones. You know, they're playing quite a bit of games on the East Coast where it's going to be very hot, and then of course you have to deal with different time zones, etc. Although that's similar to Brazil, I reckon. And I do wonder though. And this is also, I think, a big thing that's happening with Messi in Argentina, is how much of this is marketing driven, right? The fact that FIFA, for example, pushed Inter Miami to be at the Club World Cup last year because that meant Messi and that meant more eyeballs and meant sold out games in Miami and all that sort of stuff. And I wonder how much of that is also a pull here, if it is any. And I mean, that also then, of course, once you're able to answer this, if you can answer this question, we have to also talk about what's going on with his market value.
Yeah, I mean, there's layers to it. I think, as we said, Neymar represents so much for Brazilian football and for Brazil, really. I
Hmm.
mean, he really is that kind of such a big persona. Like he's culturally important, not just for football, for Brazilian culture as well. So, I mean, it must not be easy being Neymar at the point
Hmm.
that whatever he does in his life, in his daily life, is gonna affect a lot of people's thoughts, opinions. It's gonna generate some fuss. So yeah, I mean, he's always been like that. He's always been that sort of an idol here in Brazil. So people look up to him and they are really keeping an eye on literally anything he does. And we're not even talking football now. I mean, it's literally anything Neymar does has an impact in Brazilian culture. So I think it must be tough being Neymar. And yeah, I mean, he came to Brazil. He came back to Brazil. We had a lot of expectations upon his return to Santos. He didn't really meet these expectations at first. Then he started struggling with injuries again, and whenever he seems that all right, now he's gonna keep on going. He's doing fine now. He would be injured again. And I mean, I completely understand it. It's a consequence of his style of play, of everything he's done throughout his career. And it's tough on him, but it's a bit disappointing to see uh, what the Neymar return to Santos was. But still, then I think, as I said earlier, he is the technical leader for this Brazil national team in the World Cup. So he could be the guy to make a difference. Let's say if Neymar doesn't start for Brazil, he could be like a super sub and come out and just like score the winning goal every single game Brazil plays in the World Cup. So he really has potential to be that guy because he's that good. So yeah, I mean, it's very intriguing to think about Neymar at the World Cup and to think how Neymar has been doing recently. But market value wise, I mean, we couldn't go another way apart from downgrading him. I mean,
Yeah.
if you say performance wise, he's not doing as good as we expected. Unfortunately, he isn't the player that we expected him to be at this point in his return to Santos, and he's not getting any younger really. So we had to, despite him being in the World Cup, despite him still being Neymar, we had to downgrade him slightly. But hopefully that won't mean a lot in the World Cup and we can see him perform greatly for Brazil.
Yeah, the downgrade is 2 million euros, right? From 10 to 8 is a conundrum that you have to deal with because he's a legend. He's such a big name. And I have the same problem. I mean, my function as the area manager for North America, I have a similar problem with Lionel Messi every time we do a market value update. You have the status of a player, the size, the marketing potential, and then you have age and performances on the other hand. And, we have to weigh all of that. And I'm pretty sure Tiberius, our colleague in Asia, has the same issue with Cristiano Ronaldo every time he does an update too. It's hard, right? Because like if a player like Neymar or Messi becomes available, there would be clubs that would be willing to spend whatever just to like get a photo with the jersey of like the player with the jersey, right? And I mean, Neymar might be soon my problem, right? Because he's been heavily linked with a move to Cincinnati. You might have to pass him on to me and then I have to deal with it. And Cincinnati would pay whatever it takes in terms of salary to get him.
Yeah, I mean, there are these kind of players where people will just, I mean, just being here, just being at your club, it means the world to you. It means the world to fans. It means a lot for the league. Yeah, I mean, Neymar, Messi, Ronaldo, they are these kind of players that they mean more than just what they perform at the pitch. I mean, it's not a surprise that there was this much anticipation about the Brazilian national team call-up because of Neymar. I mean, obviously, everybody wants to know who are going to be at the World Cup, who's going to be the 26-man squad. But I'll tell you what, 80% of the anticipation was about Neymar, at least. And they are that big, these kind of players, and they mean a lot more than just what they perform, what they put out on the pitch. So, yeah, I think Neymar is not very much different from Messi and Ronaldo in that sense. And
yeah,
we have to understand that even though they are being downgraded because they're getting older, they're getting closer to the end of their careers, they still mean a lot more in terms of football marketing and what they represent as a brand and, as a person as well.
I mean, I always say don't think of the market value attached to the player as being attached to that individual, but rather what that individual represents, right? And so we have to always take that into account as well. When you look at the age and the performance numbers, that's how much a player of that category would usually cost on average. And that's just how it works. Marcus, this was great. Thank you so much for spending the time with us again. And I'm pretty sure we'll have you on very soon. Yes, and check out the market value text, but you will have some great quotes from Marcus on there too. Other players than Neymar as well, I promise. Although Neymar is going to take up a big chunk of it. Marcus, talk to you soon, buddy. As always,
Thank you, Manu. Thank you, guys. I'll have a look at the update. It's great, and let's keep an eye on Neymar at the World Cup.
Absolutely.